during that downtime is when I'm really I'm forced to look in the mirror and like, what am I outside of this? Who am I outside of being on the screen and outside of these characters that are not me, essentially? And you're faced with that reality of sitting there like, what do I actually like to do? What pleases me? What when people ask me, what do you like to do? I hate that question. I cringe at that question because I never got the time to really get to know who Nadia is outside of my career, outside of, this calling that I have on my life.
Started from the hustle, now we playing it smart. Put the system in position, took the grind out the heart. Got the team on a vision, every role playing part. Ain't no job, it's a business, that's the real boss art. We the 2Exit Podcast.
Hello everybody, welcome to the show. I'm your host Sam Mitchell. Welcome to Freedom to Exit. I'm your host Sam Mitchell, joined here with my trio of consultants. To my far left, what's your name again, girl? I'm just joking.
What
Nadia.
is my name?
I'm just joking, Nadia Adelaide. And then to my close left is Floyd Williams. My far right, Maurice Grant. And our founder, President Josiah Wiley.
Hey, what's up?
Everyone
What's happening,
starts
people?
sitting up and
We're here.
I was ordering your lunch, y'all.
Hey, I had a GM my first year in Toronto. He would take the coaches out for dinner. He wanted to take us a Subway or a sub sandwich one day. We all kind of looked at him and said, nah, you know what? We'll just go our own separate way and buy our own dinner. We'll do that because we're not Subway type guys. Other than that, welcome to the show. We'll just clown around a little bit. Freedom to Exit. The show is about, we here are consultants for Exit Factor North here in Atlanta, Georgia. As I said, Josiah is president of our company. And we're here to educate people on how and when to exit your business. And I think the number one thing people don't understand when you hear Exit Factor is not just about exiting your business, right, Josiah? It's about what? Growth, right? It's the exit, because at some point you're going to exit. But in the meantime, I haven't met one person in business that don't want to grow their business and make more money. So that's what we do here in Atlanta as consultants. We're going to help you. We're going to teach you how to plan and exit your business. But in the meanwhile, while that's going on, we're going to grow your business and grow your revenue. That being said, let's get to the show, guys. Josiah, the start of this show, this is from founder to finish. The psychology of letting go. Of letting go something, your baby. Letting go something that was your idea. And then it went from an idea to an actual business. Josiah, what I want to start with you with is, why selling your business is as much as an emotional decision as a financial one.
Yeah, that's a great topic, Coach, and there's a lot of different ways to really tackle that and to talk about it. One of the ways to really think about it is when you start working on your business and you're starting it out from the beginning, there's no such thing as work-life balance, right? Because you're working on it continuously. If you're not working on your business at the start, continuously, nonstop, your competitors are, and they're gonna beat you, right? And then you're not gonna be successful. So when you're starting out, you're going through that sweat equity at the beginning, where you're working very hard, continuously. There's stories of people that sleep under their desks or sleep in their warehouse or factory when they start.
I used to be that guy. Sleep in my office in a sleeping bag when I was here.
Absolutely.
I was that dumb.
What sleeping bag fit?
Right. You're too tall for a sleeping
I
bag.
was that dumb until one of my assistant coaches kicked me one morning about 5:30 in the morning, wake me up and said, Coach, you've been up all night watching film and sleeping in that sleeping bag. What did you learn? We're not good enough. Hello. I sold that sleeping bag.
That's exactly the point. And what ends up happening when the business grows and it becomes mature and now it's running independently of you, which is the goal, right? So you're not in the business day to day. And then it's time to separate yourself from that entity that you built up, right? You have that emotional attachment to it because you've spent so much time, energy, and effort on it, put so much blood, sweat, and tears into that business. that it can be difficult sometimes to pull yourself away and say, you know what, it's time for me to separate. My identity is more than just that business, and that's why, when you're talking to an exit advisor, they're always saying there's 3 things you need to look at: your business goals, which need to be separate and unique and independent from your personal goals, and you need to have a separate, unique, and independent financial goals, because once that business goes away, you have to have a life outside of that company that is unique to you and who you are.
Now, I want to ask you this, and that's right on your side. The founder identity problem. What happens when an owner's self-worth is tied directly to their business, where you can't recognize them from their business or their business from them?
Mm-hmm. I mean, they start making decisions based off of too much emotion and not based off of the systems and procedures you put in place. It's decisions that are intertwined with how you feel instead of what's best for the company, instead of what's best for
your feelings lie to you sometimes.
Yeah.
How you feel. I just had this conversation with a close friend of mine. I'm not going to name her name, but she's really close to me. And she was talking about she has this feeling. And I said, most of the time when I had those strong feelings, they were the wrong feelings. If I go back over my life, because I think when you want something so bad, you convince yourself, and then you start feeling that way. It's something that you do to yourself emotionally. So talk about, you got these business owners, they had this brainchild, they put their money into it, their life savings, they're starting this business, they're growing this business, like
Right.
Josiah said, they're working at it 24/7, and then all of a sudden, boom.
Right.
You can't even, you don't know how to separate yourself.
But being human and having humanistic natural feelings, it is hard. It's hard to make that separation, but it's so necessary because, in my opinion, a well-oiled machine, a really strong structured business can't run off of feelings alone. It has to run off of facts and data and all that good stuff. But having the emotional maturity to separate the two is where you're right in the pocket that you need to be in. And although it is your baby, your brainchild, something that you spent all this time, money, attention, time that you put into your business that you could have been spending with your kids and your family, you think about it in all these different aspects, and you're so attached to it. But there's a healthy unattachment that needs to be thought about as well. Like you can't. Yes, you have to live, breathe, eat your business within the first couple months. How Josiah was saying that work balance is non-existent, but to eventually develop that unattachment to it, to make sure that it can run, that your baby can, walk and run and fly on its own is important too. So, you have to be strong enough. It's about strength, in my opinion. You have to be strong enough to make that detachment.
And what's interesting is I was actually working with a business owner recently that it was a very similar situation. Built up the business over 20 years, literally 20 years of business in Inman Park here in Atlanta. She had approached it correctly of, I'm ready to let go. And she is. She has positioned herself, she has mentally prepared herself to let go. And Maurice, you were over there the other day and we were just shooting an interview with her, and there was a moment where she realized that this is actually happening.
Bro, she was crying.
And she started crying because it was time. It was time for that to take place. Now, it was a very special moment for her. Even though she's mentally prepared and has accepted that this is happening and it's time, she still has that emotional attachment to something that she built.
So there could have been happy tears.
They were happy tears. Sad tears, all at the same time, right? Yeah.
Floyd, I know I had something I was going to ask you, but it kind of, after listening to Josiah, I want to change what I want to ask you. When you're a business owner and it's time to sell your business, time to exit, talk about owners, the process they go through, because a lot of times when you get to that moment, and we've had a guy briefly A guy that has a chain of radio stations down in my hometown, Columbus, called me up, met with him, talked to him. I'm ready to sell. I'm ready to sell. I'm ready to sell. My partner just passed away. And then all of a sudden we sit down, boom, boom, boom. We talk among ourselves. We start strategizing about a plan. I go back to him and boom, here come that wall.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that's funny. These are the things that come up when people are not really ready to sell. Stalling, the negotiations, overpricing, asking for more money, and then they want to know how you're planning on running their business once they sell it to you. Talk about those things because that's part of that emotional attachment to that business. So now when it's time to let go, it's kind of almost like raising your children. You have kids.
Yeah.
How hard was it to open that door, that cage, and let them fly away and be adults?
Yeah. All that is so important to realize and understand while we're talking to these individuals who are human, and they have this notion to sell, but when they sit in the quiet space by themselves and come to the reality of I'm divesting myself of my quote unquote identity.
Wow.
This is me. Provision Mortgage Corporation, Floyd Williams Corporation. This is me. This is part of my. When I step out, this is how I identify myself as someone who's successful, and all the things that go along with being a business owner. And you're divesting yourself of all that. There's a whole lot of anxiety around that.
That's all. Let me ask you this. So some people lose who they are
Yes.
because like you just said it.
Yeah.
I'm Floyd Williams of such and such.
Yes.
Now all of a sudden you sell that company, you got a bag full of money, but now you're just Floyd Williams.
Think about this. You're a business owner, or it's like, hey, what do you do? I own a. You don't say when somebody say, what do you do? You talk about what business you run and how that business runs. You don't talk about who you are.
Yeah.
Your identity is ingrained into your business, right?
It goes on to like I'm pretty sure you've seen it. You played in the NBA, but like how many people that played sports once they're retired, they're like, well, I don't. They have no identity no more.
Right.
They get lost in just like, well, I'm a retired NBA basketball player.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you still have more than that, but that psychology of like there's people in sports who are retired and they continue going on. Look at Shannon Sharp. He's now one of the biggest podcasters out there.
Yeah.
He continued to build off of his name. Tom Brady continued to build off his name. LeBron James not retired yet, but they all are people that's like continue to live beyond past just that one thing that they got known for, that baby.
Yeah. There's a business coaching methodology called transitional coaching. And that's really about helping to make that transition because there's 3 stages. One is just that sense of loss. You're going to lose something. You're going to lose the ability to go to work every day and tell employees, how to do the business. So that part is going to be lost, and there's some anxiety around the loss. And sometimes when people sell, they don't think about that. And then now we have to transition to what's pulling and pushing you towards exit.
I think that there's a lot of similarities for a business owner and what they go through emotionally.
Yeah.
To Maurice, you were talking about earlier, like with athletes, whenever they come to the end of their career, because athletes, coach, they play professionally for how many years? How many years is an average professional?
4 years.
Yeah. 4 years. But they spend high school, they spend college, developing
back to
up
elementary
to that
school.
point.
Let's go all back to
elementary
grade.
school, up to where they get into that professional level. They play for 4 years, and then it's over, and they're like, what am I going to do with my life now? Right. So, and even as a business owner who's had a business for 20 years, and that gets back to some of our previous episodes of like dealing with stress and making sure that you have time for your family, but having those 2 sets of parallel path goals, right? Your parallel path for what you're doing in your business with a separate parallel path for your family, your personal aspirations away from that. So that when it comes time for that transition, you already are doing something else. You already have fulfillment in your life on your personal track that you can continue to pursue.
That's the pull I'm talking about. That's the pull that I'm talking about. Something has to be pulling you towards something for you to not get emotionally attached and get lost in that emotions of selling the business. You got to be, something's got to be pulling you. I want to have vacations with my family. I want to spend time with my grandkids or something. Something has to be pulling you and has to be strong enough to fight against this whole anxiety piece of divesting myself from my identity.
And when you're clear on that pull, though, or try to listen to it more and have that sense, you avoid that state of limbo.
That's right.
That's feeling
right.
of loss right after you exit your company, and you can avoid like depressive episodes, and distancing yourself and all that negative mental unhealthy things because you just were too attached, or you didn't have something that also was fulfilling enough.
That's right.
In your life.
I mean, and it breaks it down even to simpler terms, because I think the struggle is very similar. Now, it gets compounded the more money that's involved, right?
Yeah.
But I've had jobs before where I had poured everything I had into it. Absolutely everything, all of my energy, all of my effort, everything I had, and then it was over.
Very similar.
Right? And once you hit that wall, you're like, man, I didn't want that to end, right? And then I didn't have that separate personal aspirational thing that was pulling me another direction. And it's a very hard wall to hit, and it does sometimes lead to that what you're talking about, Nadia, where you're alone, isolated, and depressed.
That's right.
So
it's important, even as a business owner, when you get to that point, that you have something that is pulling you
So
to
what
that
can
other
people
direction.
do? What can some business owners do? Like the one that's listening to this right now that may be completely consumed by their business. Like they are their business. They are that athlete that's all they know is football. That's all they know is basketball. That's all they know is their business. How can they start detaching themselves from this to now understanding who they are as an individual?
I want to ask you this, Maurice, to piggyback on that. You're talking about it, and what I'm hearing is these owners see their business as their baby. When you go sit down with an owner and you realize that, and you start putting together that structure and putting together everything that you need to do to try to how do you sit down with a business owner that has created this business, has basically made it its baby, and now it's your job to help them exit this business, but not only exit the business, but they got to diverse themselves away from the business. Do you try to help them see other things that they could do outside of it? Because we're more than just business consultants. Sometimes,
Life coaches.
We're life coaches.
Yeah, life coach,
Coaches,
Because that's an emotional thing, man. Think about it. We got a client that's been in his business for 31 years, and now we're in the process of helping him exit. I don't think none of us up here has thought about how emotional when that day comes, when we're finally closed that deal. Dude, it could be as happy as he probably going to be to get the bag. That's going to be, because the first thing he's going to ask himself is, what did I do tomorrow?
Of course.
When I wake up.
Yes. What's next?
So that goes into like what we have a vortex model. If y'all watched some of the previous episodes, we talked about it before. Vortex, the first one is value. And in the value phase of working with us at Exit Factor is understanding what will life be like once you actually transition from owning your company. Like actually understanding who you are. And it's not, oh, I'm a business owner, oh, I'm this. It's like, no, who are you? Like once we remove all the titles, all the accolades, all these things, who are you as a person? What is the things that you actually want to do in life? Like, what does life mean for you? Once you got clear on those goals, then we start to go back to the business. Because you basically mentioned, it's like, in my experience, 80-20, 80% is more mental coaching than actual business coaching. 20% is business. 80% is me helping that person get over whatever hurdles that they may be enduring at that time to scale the business even more. But to answer your question, it literally is that value stage, and we spend a lot of time in that. That's the very first thing, is understanding what life looks like beyond the business, and then getting clear on how we can build a path to make sure that we're hitting those goals, so that way you don't feel stuck in the state of limbo or distress or depression once you do sell your business.
Hold on, Coach. Real quickly, the other day, Maurice and I had a session, like a EF2 meeting with a client.
Explain what an EF2 and an EF3, our consulting packages now. I'm just getting ready to touch on that.
Yeah. Well, EF2 is where we work with a business owner quarterly to work towards growth objectives in their business. And the very first time in that value stage, we sat down and we said, let's talk about your business goals and your personal goals and your financial goals. And the person that we were working with looked at me and said, well, I don't have any personal goals. And you know what we spent the most time on? The personal goals. And they actually knew more about their personal aspirations and goals than the business goals, but they had never really written it down.
Right.
And once we had put that all down and we sat back and we said, wow, we actually do have two separate paths. Remember that? And what happened after that?
She actually got excited. Like, she started to see that, oh, my life is beyond this business. Like, she's wearing every hat in the company. So now that she can see, is like, oh, I want to travel the world. I want to spend time with my kids. I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. She gets excited about life beyond her wearing every single hat in the company and expanding past that.
Guys,
And you know what's really funny about that, Coach? I'm sorry, I keep talking over you. Is that we said, okay, any more? And they would sit back and go, oh, yeah, one more. And we say, okay, is there anything else? Oh, yeah, one more. And we actually built out a huge list of like personal aspirational goals that and originally they said they didn't have any. So
Yeah,
they had never been forced to sit down and actually think about who they are, what their business is, and then at some point, what they're going to do when they exit the business. Is that going to set us up after we come out the break? We got to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about this. This is very important. Shifting the mindset and that emotional due diligence. Right? Those are the things, because now we're getting into the core of a business. We've talked about all these external factors, but the internal factors is you. How do you get that business owner to the other side? Right? They're stuck in purgatory right now because they're wearing all these hats and they're grinding themselves in. And now we want to show them, throw them that life raft and show them how to get to the promised land. So you're listening to Freedom to Exit. I'm your host, Sam Mitchell. We'll be right back after this short break.
80% of businesses out there don't sell. 20% do. Be a part of that exclusive club. Don't allow things like death, divorce, disability, or disagreement to keep you from joining that exclusive club and getting 90% of your net worth in cash.
Hey guys, most people start their businesses because they have a vision for a lifestyle sometime in the future, to be able to have that business create that lifestyle for them so they can exit not on someone else's terms, but on their own terms. So you can do that now. I want you to go to our site, Plan That Exit, to do an assessment of what your business is worth. Because when we know what your valuation is, we can actually help you get that valuation even multiple times higher than what it is today.
Answer me this. Could you leave your business right now, turn off your phones, shut your laptops, not respond to any emails, phone calls, text messages, and it still be running like a well-oiled machine? If that's not you, then you need to visit our website, planthatexit.com. Like this video, subscribe, comment for more topics that you want to hear us talk about, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
Welcome back to the show, Freedom to Exit. I'm your host, Sam Mitchell, with my compadres in crime, consultants from Exit Factor North here in Atlanta, Georgia.
These guys are the criminals.
Yeah. It's definitely me. But that person over there, that young lady over there, that's the mastermind of all this, okay? I know nothing. I know nothing. I'm scared of the police. But that being said,
This is the muscle.
we tease this. And guys, this is something, I think sometimes as consultants, and I remember this in our training, they gave us an assignment, and I had talked to Floyd about it. And the one clue the instructor gave us, she said, the information that you're looking for is not in the numbers. You can find it in the numbers.
Interesting.
But it's going to take you a lot longer. The information that you're looking for is the conversation that you have with the business owner. Now let that resonate. Because when she gave us the assignment, she gave us this page with all these numbers. And we're looking at all this stuff, and she said, ha. On the other page is the conversation I had with the owner. Which one do you value more? Which one are you going to learn most? So this is where I want to start when we start talking about shifting the mindset. And Floyd, you know, I want to start with you. How do you get, and you are a coach for business owners and a kind of a life coach. How do you get people, business owners, once they sell their business, how do you get them to see themselves for a post business life? How do you prepare them? How do you help prepare them for that? Because I think a lot of people think our job is just, we're just going to help you get the most money for your company. And that's going to make you happy. No, that's just the beginning. What's next?
Yeah.
Because you got to help prepare them, because again, we have a client for 31 years have been in that business grinding. What is he going to do that next day after he get that bag and wake up? How are we going to help him prepare for the next phase of his life?
Yeah, I think you have to get the client to find the why. The why. And so,
first of all, why you're selling your business. Why is it time to exit?
Absolutely. And then, we talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? And the highest high level of need is self-actualization. That's really purpose. That's really doing something that's meaningful for me. So I want to talk about that. I want to start getting into the why and what's meaning for you, what's purpose for you, because like we're talking about, we have billionaires who are billionaires, and we have a billionaire, I won't call the name, but we have there's a prominent billionaire who's 98 years of age. Billionaire. Obviously, he's not working for money. He's working for self-actualization. What's for purpose? We've seen billionaires go to, places like Africa and create, fresh water for people who didn't
Talking
have
about
fresh water.
Bill Gates.
Why?
I mean, why you just say who it is?
He said it. But no, seriously. So why do they do that, though, Josiah? Why do they go start looking for meaningful
because
purpose?
they have personal aspirations separate from the business.
It's not about money.
Yeah, not about money.
It's not about money. So that's really what I want to tap into.
Personal fulfillment, personal aspiration.
Yeah, those personal aspirations, this self-actualization, purpose, meaningful. I mean, that's why I get up every morning, because I don't want to there's a lot of things you can do for money. But what do I want to do that's purposeful and meaningful for me?
When it comes down to it, Coach, you were talking about earlier about how when you're looking at a business and you're evaluating it on paper based on financials only, without having had that conversation with the people, reality of the situation is businesses are made up of people. Corporations are made up of individuals, right? There are stories behind every brand. There's unique individuals working behind every branded company, right? So there's more to the story than just the financials. It's the structure of the company, yes. It's the financials. But it's most prominently, which places the most value on your company, is the people who work in the company, the culture inside of the company, as well as the structure and process of the company that make up that value.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I want to ask you this. Why is it important to detach yourself from your company's success? Why? Because I think a lot of times, and we talked about this a little earlier, you don't want to become your company. You're still you. You're just a person. I tell people this all the time. People identify me as coach, right? Because I coach in the NBA play and stuff like that. But I tell people all the time, I'm Sam. Coaches is what I do.
Right.
When I'm not coaching, I'm Sam. But you know how many people, I had this happen to me. I'm in a restaurant, and I go to the same restaurant in Toronto every 3 days a week. Sit at the same table, had the same waiter. We established a rapport, relationship, right? Because I'm coming in 3 days a week. He knows my order. He knows I like everything. And we're chit-chatting. We're talking. We're talking basketball. We're talking life. At one point, I said to him, hey, man, he kept saying, coach, coach, coach. Hey, call me Sam. Like, we've established a relationship. You like me. I like you. We're kind of friendly. You know what I mean? Call me Sam. And he was like, I can't call you coach. He got upset. And I was like, wow.
It's a respect.
And when he walked away, he was upset. And when he came back, I was like, no, man, just call me coach. Because what I realized, people will identify you based on what you do. And sometimes you can't escape it.
Right.
So you have to learn how internally to remember, I'm Sam. Because people treat coach different than how they treat Sam. They treat coach like he walk on water.
Right.
They treat Sam like he under the water. You know what I mean? So you have to be careful. And the biggest thing of that, the biggest drawback of that, and now I want you to talk about this, because you're in a world, you're an actor, and you're a celebrity. You do a part. Your face is out there. And the number one thing, the biggest trap in all this is that you start thinking you're that person that runs that person You're the company,
Right.
not the person that founded and started the company.
Right. And that can get super tiring also, like Sam mentioned, yes, I am a full-time actor, but I had to really recently tell myself I'm way more than just that.
Right.
And I had to find out what that was. With acting, it's kind of like, with this example, I think of it as like exiting multiple times. I have a job until I don't. I'm on set for a month until that's done. Then I'm unemployed again. So I go through many different phases of employment within a year, So during that downtime is when I'm really I'm forced to look in the mirror and like, what am I outside of this? Who am I outside of being on the screen and outside of these characters that are not me, essentially? And you're faced with that reality of sitting there like, what do I actually like to do? What pleases me? What when people ask me, what do you like to do? I hate that question. I cringe at that question because I never got the time to really get to know who Nadia is outside of my career, outside of, this calling that I have on my life. So ever so recently, I just realized, like, it's okay to have that downtime, that moment, those personal aspirations, because they let you know inside of who you are, And a lot of people, unfortunately, they don't know themselves. They know themselves inside their business. They know themselves as their domestic role. They don't know who they are personally. So just understanding who that person is, can mitigate a lot of mental turmoil, I think. People, like I mentioned earlier, those depressive episodes, the going to all different kinds of substances to try to cope with whatever those the lack of that makes it is. So yeah, just as an actor, I can speak to that, and just finding out who you are outside of it and your why. What's making you, what's driving you, what's making you wake up every morning and do the things that you do. So figuring that out can be detrimental.
Yeah, I would like to add on that too, because it's like understanding too what you believe about yourself. Because like I can call you right now, it's like, oh, you're a 70-year-old Indian guy. You're like, no, I'm not. You clearly understand that. But if I call you out of your name, or I call you a B, or I call you white, or I call you orange, or I call you yellow, like some words may hit you, some may not. But it's like understanding what you truly believe about yourself. Like business owners have to do this as well. It's like, okay, well, what do I believe about myself, right? Like, how do I get past just these titles that I place on myself or that other people place on myself? Like Sam, he could have got real offended when homie was like, nah, I can't call you coach. Like, he could have got offended, but the guy was offended that I can't call you coach because of the identity that he placed on him.
Exactly.
So getting to the point that this is just a people thing, like forget business. As a person, removing the titles that other people place on you and you place on yourself, and understanding that what you believe about yourself is the ultimate thing that is true.
Yeah.
Man, Maurice, along that topic, I want you to expound on this right quick, because that leads right into what I wanted to talk to you about. When you sit down with a business owner and before they sell, what's those conversations like? Because now all of a sudden, these people don't have all this free time. They don't have this freedom. How do you sit down with somebody before they sell and help them redirect all that energy and all that work ethic that they put into the business, and now all of a sudden it's getting ready to go, and you can start seeing that fear, you start seeing that uncertainty in their eyes, and they're talking to you. How do you have those you just kind of talked about this? It's an identity crisis.
Yeah.
How do you kind of sit down with them and talk them through the fact that, reminding them why they're selling, why it's important to sell right now, and that they're going to be okay, that the next chapter of life is going to be better, that they have this freedom?
So to rephrase what I'm about to say, we mentioned it in the last episode where I gave like the 4 stages of learning, which is teaching, reasoning, transitioning, and trusting. As a business owner, like when you're getting to that trusting stage, like not everyone is a parent, but everyone has been a kid and has a parent of some sort. no one wants to be micromanaged by their parent up until they're 80, 60 years old. Like, no one wants to be at the point where your mom and dad are yelling at you or like not really trusting you to be who you are. Like, that teenage stage, they want to be a teenager. That adult stage, that young adult stage, they want to be a young adult. If I'm still treating my kid, or if I was still getting treated as a kid as I'm 23, I'm going to get very mad at my parents. Your business is kind of that same way. So like when we get into the state of retirement or transitioning or exiting, it's like, okay, do I have another kid that I could spend more time with? Or no, what is the things that I actually still want to do? We went over it before. It's like, what is that value stage? Do I want to travel the world? Do I want to find my purpose? Or what is my purpose? I'm sorry. But there's a saying that I like to use, and it's not a saying, a statement that comes from Japanese culture, and it's a concept. It's called ikigai. And it's, if you draw 4 circles, one is what you love, what are you good at, what the world needs, and what can you get paid for. In the middle is your ikigai. So this is helping you understand, like, what is the thing that you should be striving towards. It's the thing that you truly like to do, the world needs, you can get paid for, and you just love doing it, and the world needs it. So getting a business owner clearer to their ikigai, their purpose, their fulfillment, what brings them joy outside of monetary goals, is the ultimate goal of just being a great human being. And that's why I became an exit factor consultant, because it's like seeing business owners past that business stage. It's like, cool, your kid's now 20. You want to keep treating them like they're 7, or you want to treat them like they're 20? Like,
well, my mother 86, she still treat me like I'm 12. When I go home, I act like I'm 10. So I act even worse. But Joseph, I want to ask you this. I want to close with this topic. Here at the Exit Factor, we have 72 point of emphasis that we look at with a business. You also just recently, that pen, which is really, really nice, and I'm going to like steal it from you one day because I'm not going through that class anytime soon. You got the SEPA certification.
That's right, I did.
So 2 things. Talk about the 72 things we looked at. Not all, we're not going to look at all 72, but some of them. And then explain to people what that little badge on your lapel, having your SEPA certification in.
Yeah, thanks, Coach. Thanks for pointing that out. I went to the Exit Planning Institute, and I obtained my Certified Exit Planning Advisor certification, which provides me the credential that I can do business valuations and I can do value accelerations with a certified credential and program. But really, what I think that this show is all about right now in this episode is that it's about the human aspect, right? There are 72 different things that we as exit planners evaluate in putting the determination of value on your company. And then we focus in on those things to drive value growth and acceleration in the business. But if you look at 4 key ones, that is the human aspect, right? And the social aspect are 2 of the primary most important things when you look at a company. Companies are made of people, and there is human capital and there is cultural capital that adds value to your company. And if those things are out of whack, then it drastically brings the value of that company down, right? So that's why all of the things we talked about are so important, right? Leadership, connection with employees, and the people that work inside the company and your customers outside the company. They're all humans, and they all interact together. Really builds a lot of value. So of the 72 points we talked about, 4 of those are associated to the structure and the human capital of the company.
And last but not least, guys, before we close on this segment, I think something that's really important that a lot of people, when you talk about business, it's all numbers. It's all money. It's all about growth acceleration. It's all about that business growing so you can cash out at the optimal number, right? But I think the biggest thing, a lot of people, and I think I'm so proud of this, the exit factor, what we do, we really, really, really consider the human element, the person, right? Because we deal with a lot of small to mid-sized businesses. We don't deal with big corporations. where they don't have a soul, where they're just all about that number. We've talked to clients to where it's important who they sell to. Like we've got clients that, yeah, they may get more money selling it to this corporation, but they'd rather sell it to a guy like Ford because Ford is going to take care of their people. Ford, think about it, a small business, these are not just employees. These people become like family when you got 30 or 40 employees and you're managing them every day and you with them every day and they're seeing that growth with you, they become like family. And a lot of our business owners are really particular about who they sell their business to. And I just think that's something that we do a great job of that other people in our space don't do. They never, ever, when they sit down with business owners, they always talking money. And the money is important. But if you set your business up right, if you run your business right, and if your business is ready to exit by coming to us, the money is not going to be an issue. So our biggest thing is, that's why I tell people, we're going to get you the money that your company, that your business is worth. The biggest thing that we're going to do is that we're going to help you prepare yourself for after you exit, right? It may be another business, it may be another, and this is the thing. If you decide to go into another business, we're going to help you find that business that is not going to be the same as the one you exited, where you're not wearing all those hats, where you're not doing everything, where you can sit back and do the job of an owner, where you could work on your business and not in your business. Guys, look, I enjoy these conversations. Thank you for joining us. You just sat down with us and we just had another episode of Freedom to Exit. I'm your host, Sam Mitchell. These are my consultants from Exit Factor North here in Atlanta. And again, I'm going to say this, the guy that's dressed different is because he didn't understand that in Atlanta, when it gets cold,
I understand the mission.
Tell him what even it stands for.
I understand the
Before
mission.
we go, tell him what that stands for.
This is
earnings
before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. Over ego. All the stuff that we're talking about today, this is important.
Most important.
That is this.
Man, you nailed it out of the park. Hey, a pipe burst in his house, and he ended up wearing the perfect shirt.
Perfect. So that was, let me tell you something. We did that on purpose, right? Floyd, thank you for going under that house. Messing with those pipes. Good job. Because he would have never worn that outfit if we would have done it. Thank you, people, for joining another episode. I will be back with you next week for more from Exit Factor North. That's who we are, right here in Atlanta, Georgia, on Peachtree. Come see us. We're ready for business, and we're ready to take you to a different level, both emotionally and financially. Thank you.
Bye.
80% of businesses out there don't sell. 20% do. Be a part of that exclusive club. Don't allow things like death, divorce, disability, or disagreement to keep you from joining that exclusive club and getting 90% of your net worth in cash.
Hey guys, most people start their businesses because they have a vision for a lifestyle sometime in the future, to be able to have that business create that lifestyle for them so they can exit not on someone else's terms, but on their own terms. So you can do that now. I want you to go to our site, Plan That Exit, to do an assessment of what your business is worth. Because when we know what your valuation is, we can actually help you get that valuation even multiple times higher than what it is today.
Answer me this. Could you leave your business right now, turn off your phones, shut your laptops, not respond to any emails, phone calls, text messages, and it still be running like a well-oiled machine? If that's not you, then you need to visit our website, planthatexit.com. Like this video, subscribe, comment for more topics that you want to hear us talk about, and we'll see you guys in the next video.